Hello YouTubers, Sonic Ox here. I hope you're all doing well. This is just a follow-up video regarding my strategy for external data storage. In this video I'll be installing a new SSD solid-state drive in an external enclosure. Let me just unbox this. This is the Western Digital Black Series SSD. It's the SN770, and this is a one terabyte variety, Gen 4. It has theoretical data transfer speeds up to 5150 megabytes per second, which would be just over 5 gigabytes per second. Now I don't expect I'll get that because well, the enclosure at with the Thunderbolt 4 connections and the USB 4 connection, I've never seen one go much over 3 gigabytes per second. There's a lot of reasons for that. Just overhead in the electronics for one thing, but it seems to me that the data transferred speed limit on Thunderbolt 4 equipped devices is about right around 3 gigabytes per second. So it seems kind of counterintuitive to buy a drive that's more capable than that, even at this one 5 gigabytes per second is kind of overkill, because you're going to be limited by the speed of your enclosure. But this is the one we're going to put in. It's I think it was $75 on Amazon. I think this is a good strategy to expand the storage on the laptop. I should be able to take advantage of the Thunderbolt 4 connection, and I'll be able to swap those SSDs out of the enclosure here when it's full. So I'll go ahead and put the drive in the enclosure. Okay, comes with a instruction booklet. That's nice. You you can see that this drive is a pretty simple one. It's just got components on one side. This is probably the storage stack, and that's probably the controller, which is the brains of the card. This might be some kind of thermal regulating chip, but regardless, all of these components produce heat under use, and so they're going to have to be covered in covered with a thermal pad, and make a thermal connection with the heat sink of the enclosure. Kind of hard to believe that these little guys can hold so much data. One terabyte. I also want to make sure that the components are at the same height off of the card, because you want your thermal pad to make a good connection with the heat sink. The memory stack might be a little taller than the control chip, but we'll see. We'll just make sure that there's a good connection there, a good thermal connection. Again, this is the enclosure, the Acasis TBU405 Pro. Has a Thunderbolt 4 connection. There's the switch for the internal fan to also help with heat dissipation. This is toolless. You can install the SSD without the aid of tools. Those little ball bearings can compress into a little indention in the body of the unit to keep it on. So there's the card. This is actually a dual chip card. If you were looking at the other side of that card, you'd see the controller chips. But let's get the SSD installed and have a look at the performance of this thing. I've decided to put a 1.5 millimeters worth of thermal pad on the controller side and just a millimeter pad on the storage side, just so that it'll have a better chance of making even contact with the heat sink. It comes with a 1 millimeter thermal pad and a 0.5 millimeter thermal pad, and so I'll just double it up on the short side of the board. So this is the 1mm pad, and so it's gonna go along the whole length. Being careful not to obscure the connectors. These are just slightly tacky so they stay in place, but it's not, you know, super sticky. I want it to be as straight as I can get it. That's not very straight. That's a little better. Covering all the components well. And then I'm going to put another 0.5 millimeter pad on this side, just so that it makes good contact with the lid. Let's see. Did that guy just about in half. Doesn't want to come off on this side. Off of there. Maybe I'll use the other one. Backing on this one doesn't want to come off as easy. It's just pulling the sticker off, not the sheeting. I'll do this up close and off camera. Stand by. Alright, so that was a bit of a fidget, but I finally got a millimeter of thermal pad on the storage side and 1.5 millimeters of thermal pad on the controller side. So now we'll just place the SSD in the enclosure. This has the little receiver, and you can see that these are keyed in a manner that they'll only really go in one way. You put them at about a 30 to 45 degree angle, supposedly, and just press them in until they click. And then it comes with a little rubber bumper, or a little rubber, I'll call it a grommet, I guess, that secures the SSD in the enclosure. small of parts. Maybe I've had too much caffeine today. Just like that. So you can see the connection's been made and the secure grommet is in there. And it looks like the pads are just above the lip of the enclosure, so it should make good contact. That should be it. Should be ready for testing. Okay, the computer's on and running, and you probably won't be able to see it from here, but I've got the window open showing my C drive. That's the internal storage, so we're going to be adding that guy, the external storage. I'll just plug in the Thunderbolt 4 cable on that side, then plug it into the Thunderbolt 4, one of the two Thunderbolt 4 ports. Should be able to see the little light come on. Another thing I like about that enclosure is it's got little rubber feet on the bottom so it doesn't slide around on smooth surfaces. I think I'll go ahead and turn the fan on too and just see if it makes any noticeable noise. I can't hear it, but it is running. Now I didn't expect the computer to recognize it right off the bat. I'll probably have to go into the disk management area in the settings and make sure that that drive is formatted so that the computer can see it. So stand by. So when you go into the system area, you go to disks and volumes, and there it can see it, and there is there's a button to initialize, so I'll do that. GPT GUID partition table, that's the recommended, that's fine. Still not seeing it, probably has to be formatted. Alright, I'm just going to give it a name and a drive letter and format it. Not saying you can't format it while the drive is read only. Alright, I'm going to go off camera for a minute and work out this little formatting error. Alright, nothing really changed. I just had to format it again. I guess whatever I did the first time, it didn't do it. So formatted, and everything seems fine. You can see my internal system disk there, my C drive, and then this new one is the E drive. Right now I'm calling it Sonic Aux External SSD 001 because when this one fills up, I intend to drop another one in the enclosure. So let's do a speed test. Alright, this is the Crystal Disk Mark benchmark speed test. I'll set it up for drive E and run a test. If it's slow, I'll speed up the video, but this will be the test. This is going to take a little while, but I'll speed up the video. So right now, that's about exactly what I was hoping for. I think this is about the maximum speed for this enclosure. And you can see that the little LED indicator is flashing away, showing that the disk is being written to and read from while this test goes on. Yeah, this is about all I could hope for. I'm really excited and happy about those speeds so far. I haven't seen a Thunderbolt connection with an SSD. I haven't seen one go over, much over 3 gigabytes per second transfer speed, so I'm really quite encouraged with this guy. That's just about exactly what I was hoping for. I'll also do a couple of real-world transfers of large files. I'll fill a folder with, I don't know, maybe 100 gigabytes of data and see how long it takes to transfer that from one drive to the other in the computer. But I'm really happy with that. 2861 on the write speeds, that's great, in my opinion. I have the fan going on the enclosure and I can't hear it. I'll put my hand on it and see if it's getting warm. I can feel the fan pushing a little bit of air, and the drive might be slightly warmer than ambient, but it looks like it's doing great. Sorry, this video is going long. This stuff is interesting to me. So now I can retire my old hard drive. That's the old 1 terabyte hard drive with the spinning platters that was so dreadfully slow. So I'll be replacing that with this new guy. And I'm encouraged that I'll be able to just swap in a new SSD when that one fills up, and I won't have to erase every year. I use, I think, over 1 terabyte per year with my drone videos, even shooting in mostly 1080p 60 FPS. I still go over 1 terabyte. So that's it for me. I appreciate you watching. There's lots of ways to expand the memory in your laptop. This seemed like a pretty good, this seemed like the best path for me. It seems pretty cost effective. The enclosure was about $100, and the 1 terabyte SSD, a high quality one, was about $75. So going forward, I should be able to just spend $75 for 1 terabyte of storage, or actually probably less. You know, storage tends to get less expensive over time. So this should hold me for almost a year, and then I'll see what the prices are on SSD storage at that time. That's it for me. I hope y'all have a great day, and Ox out.